So the next thing you want to do is start tagging the notes. The second thing that the notes tell you is exactly what the pitch is. There's this very good article on Wikipedia, and this I use all the time. I actually have it printed out somewhere, where it gives you the frequencies of each key on a piano. But what you do need, though, is the notation, scientific name. Because this is what tells you if you know that a note is a C, for example. A C can be any C from C8 through C1. The notes are similar, like all the C's are similar, but they're not identical. So C4 is the big one. C4 is middle C, and that's on a piano, that's C4, and that's A440. And I mean, when you have the frequencies, if you want to, you can go through it and see like how the frequencies work with each other. And I mean, that's good to know. You can go through it and see if you have like a chord that you're looking at. You can scientifically go through it and say, okay, here's where the peak of this wave will cancel out the trough of this wave, and if you have two notes that are being played at the same time, you can do that. I've done it. It's kind of tedious, but it can really help you. So this is really good to know. It tells you like exactly scientifically what you're doing when you play music. And this is the part in music theory classes people always leave out. But anyway, what you're going to do is when you come to your score, you're actually going to write in that other thing that the notes tell you. So right here, where you have the tenor, which is like the treble clef and the bass clef, right in the middle of that is going to be C4. So you want to write that in. And then from there, you can tell what everything else is. The spaces in the treble are like F, A, C, E going up. So that's F, that's A, that's C, and that's E. And then the lines are the same. So that's like E is the first line, G is the second line. So it goes G, A, and then B, and then C, D, E. So that's how you do it. So then you can go through and start tagging the notes. You have D, 4, D4, D4, and then G4, E4. If that one had kept going up, then you get into A5, B5. But since it goes back down, it's G4, and then it goes to E4. And then here, here, for example, it goes below the line. So you know if it was here, that'd be C4, and it's not. So it's A4. So actually right here is the start of the 4 octave. A4, B4, C4, D4, E4, F, G. At this A, then you get A5. And that's the start of the 5 octave. Like right there, for example. That's A5. A5. And that's D5. And then you go back to 4 because it's below the A, so you get G4. And then you get E4. So that's sort of how you do it. You can do as many of them as you want, or as few of them as you want. But then once you get this done, then you know exactly what it's supposed to look like, what it's supposed to sound like, and what the actual note values are. One thing I like to do after I'm done processing a score, this is a piece that I did when I was at Oxford, is I colored in the logo. That's just something that, and then I got it signed up here by my music director. Obviously, you always go back and add more notes or take notes out or change stuff around. So you're never fully done with a score. Every time I do this piece, I'm going to probably cross something out and add something else. But there comes a point when you know what you're doing with it. So actually this time I did something really special with this piece because right before the concert was Comic-Con. So this time I actually got it signed by 2 people. On the front cover here, right on the beats, I got signed by Sean Schemmel, who was the person I actually kind of worked with at Comic-Con, and he's a voice actor, and he's actually a French horn player. So he gave me a lot of good advice about the piece in general, but especially the French horn part, which was really great actually. I learned a lot from him, and I used a lot from him. Here he wrote, horn should be in F, no bass clef. So I could rewrite that if I wanted to. It was his idea to put that E in there in the strings to help the altos tune. So he gave me a lot of good advice as someone who really knows music. And the other person I got signed by is Jason Isaacs. And he signed my score and sort of right on the tempo line, which actually sort of helped me just notice, because this is 3/4, that's 4/4, that's 3/4, that's 4/4. How he signed it helps me tell what, like, which one is which when I'm looking through it really fast. So he's a really nice guy. It was a lot of fun. I didn't know he was going to be there, but he was in the table a few tables over from me and Sean, so that was really cool to see him. So, we kind of talked a little bit about music. I was talking to him, and I'm not sure what musical background he has or anything, but there's this one part, and actually Sean Schemmel helped me out with it as well, right here, where the tempo is in 3/4. And it's 56 beats per minute for the dotted half. Dotted half note is like time and a half, so it's 3 beats if you're in a 3/4 bar. So I was supposed to beat this in 3, because that's the really important thing about the time signature, that it tells you. If nothing else, it tells you what shape you're supposed to beat in. If it's 4/4, you do it in the inverted T shape. You go, down 1 and then over 2 and then over 3 and then back up 4. If you're in 3/4, you're beating in a triangle, so just down, over, up. It's subdivided, and to me it sounded a little syncopated in terms of rhythm, and I didn't know how to beat it. So Jason Isaacs just took one look at it and said very offhand, why don't you beat it in 2, or why don't you count it in 2? And I didn't know whether he was joking or what, but I walked away from there and I thought, that's a good idea. Even though it says 3/4 and I know what that means, I have a recording, I know what it's supposed to sound like, I know how fast I'm supposed to go. If it doesn't work in 3/4 for me, I shouldn't worry about it in 3/4. It's written a certain way and it's been done a certain way and all of that, but you can't let yourself get so caught up in the score, about being so perfect about the score, that you don't know what you're doing. Because basically this is just like a framework. The score is always just a framework. You listen to it, you know how it's supposed to sound, how fast you're supposed to go. When you work with your group, you talk to them, you see how they want to do it, and you listen to what they need. Don't get caught up in, it's written this way, it absolutely has to be done in just this way, or, that's sacrilege or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what it's supposed to sound like, and that's all that really matters. That's the important thing. So, Jason Isaacs, hello, and I thank you so much for saying that to me. So yes, I did count this one in 2, in a slow 2, and it just worked a lot better. So now that's my special token that I put on this score. It's going to stay there forever. Every time I do this piece or I listen to this piece, I'm probably going to be looking at this score. So that's actually really cool. So yeah, this score has been kind of done and branded a bit now, and yeah, so that's sort of my process for doing a score.